everybody, in this example video we're going to be looking at brief exercise 714 and looking at how we calculate break-even point in units. Break-even point is a really important measure for a lot of businesses because typically up into the break-even point they're operating at a loss, and so that break-even point is kind of that first sign that the next step would be to actually earn a profit. So it tells us the Head First company plans to sell 5,000 bicycle helmets at $75 each in the coming year. The unit variable cost is $45 and includes materials, labor, variable factory overhead, and a variable selling expense. And the total fixed cost equals $49,500, and it includes that fixed factory overhead and our fixed selling administrative expense. So they want us to calculate the break-even point in the number of helmets and then check our answer by preparing a contribution margin income statement based on the break-even point. So when we're thinking about contribution margin, if you think way back to chapter 3 where we started talking about absorption and variable costing, we said under variable costing, we kind of classify our costs between how they behave. Are they variable or are they fixed? And that's really what we're going to be looking at here as well. We're going to be segregating our costs between how they behave. So to calculate our break-even point, it's going to be the total fixed cost divided by our contribution margin per unit. So if we think about a contribution margin income statement, we start with our sales revenue. We subtract away all variable expenses, that's both product and period variable expenses, to get to our contribution margin. And that contribution margin is basically reflecting how much of my sales dollars are left over to contribute to covering those fixed expenses that we're going to have regardless of how much we do in sales, and then hopefully providing us a profit. So break-even point, total fixed cost, they told us here, is at $49,500, and our contribution margin per unit. So when you're trying to find break-even point in units, you need your contribution margin in units. So contribution margin is your per unit selling price minus your per unit variable cost. So in this case, it would be $30. So our break-even point, $49,500 in total fixed cost, divided by that contribution margin per unit. That means we would have to sell 1,650 helmets just to break even, meaning that contribution margin is only going to cover exactly the fixed costs that we have. So they asked us to put together a contribution margin income statement to make sure we come out to that proper break-even point. So $75 per helmet, and at break-even we have to sell 1,650 helmets. Variable cost is $45 per helmet, and again, at break-even we have to sell 1,650 helmets. So that gives us a contribution of $49,500, and our total fixed cost are $49,500, which means that we would have an operating income of $0, and that's what we need to have in order to break even. That means our revenues exactly cover dollar for dollar all of our expenses.